Hello, friends, and welcome to the Mindfulness Advantage Show, where we engage in essential conversations with ordinary people just like you, achieving the extraordinary. I'm your host, George E. Green, CEO and creator of the Mindfulness Advantage Advanced Training and Mentoring Systems. Our commitment to you each and every week, my friends, is to bring you relevant, resonant, thoughtful, focused, and provocative conversations and content more than worthy of your sharing and replay. I partner with, train, and mentor people from all walks of life, from blue collar to business executive, in an elegantly simple yet profoundly powerful set of tools, trainings, and daily practice. My client partners and I collaborate together in creating massive upgrades in their focus, presence, purpose, productivity, and most importantly, creating greater satisfaction and fulfillment within their lives and their worlds. If you desire and choose to imagine more, to imagine better, then join me and join our special featured guests right here every week on our new playground. This is your next and greatest adventure. Let's play. Today, my featured guest, Wade Harman, and I are inviting you to join us in a deep dive into the realms of transforming our relationships, both personal and professional. We'll be bringing Wade on in just a moment, right after our opening segment, First Words. So, what does it mean, really, to be a hero? And more specifically to our conversation today, how do we show up as an authentic hero in our relationships, both personal and professional? We are all steeped in the mythos of the hero in our culture today. Just look at the success of films like Star Wars and The Matrix, both borrowing heavily from what Joseph Campbell defines as the hero's journey. Still, more often than not, there's a great difference between the hugely amplified theatrical and mythological portrayals of the hero and the hero or Shero you yourself can show up as to anyone else in your life. There is nothing more noble than the simple act of selfless service, to offer up your heart and your singular presence to another, to listen to and see them with compassion and with love. This is your own origin story, the root and foundation that opens your door to being an authentic hero. Abraham Maslow once said, "We need not take refuge in supernatural gods to explain our saints and sages and heroes and statesmen, as if to explain our disbelief that mere unaided human beings could be that good or wise." You are, and indeed can be, a hero in any moment, in any relationship, quite simply by being mindfully aware of whomever you are with, within any emerging moment of now. When we remember who we are, when we remember our own humble roots and beginnings, each of us can and indeed will become a hero, first and foremost for our families and for our friends, and in the full spectrum of all our relationships. My friend and featured guest today is Wade Harman, former coal miner and now Chief Communications Officer of Wheel Media. Wade is here with us today to share a bit of his own hero's journey and how he made the transition from miner to content and relationship marketing maven. Wade, thanks for joining us today, my friend, and let's get this party started.
Hey, George, thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate you guys asking me. I don't think of myself as a hero, although appreciated what you said, that there are some heroes in my life and some people that I have tried to mimic and do the things that they do. And I think that's a good thing, to try to pattern yourself after these great people like Jay Baer, Rand Fishkin, and many of the others. because it allows us to show, it shows us the path that they take to become what they've become. So if I can pave the way for somebody, I wouldn't call myself a hero in that aspect, but if I can pave the way for somebody to see where I've been and how, you know, my situation is not any different from anybody else's, that maybe encourage somebody to give this a try.
Well, and I've got to say, Wade, that one of the hallmarks of an authentic hero is that we don't consider ourselves to be one, and we're more concerned with studying and embodying the models of people who go before us. So I appreciate you mentioning people like Jay and others. That's how we learn, and that's how we grow with each other and collaborate with each other. So let's start a little bit with your backstory, I think, which is fascinating, and share a little bit about your roots as a coal miner and the legacy, the familial legacy of coal mining in your family.
Sure. My family, I can trace my family back as far as the 1600s. I'm a purebred German, and my family came over here in the 1700s, the late 1700s, and started doing the mining and all this stuff, and so I come from a mining background and a mining family. My grandpas were miners, my greats were miners. All these, my dad was a miner, so that's basically what I've known. And around this area, you know, it's just so small. I live up in the mountains, and it's really I'm an hour from anything to tell you the truth. It's just one of them out of the way places. But so basically I had a choice of being a coal miner, which was, you know, pays good, or I could be, you know, a doctor, which that's really the only two things that pay halfway decent in this area. You're either a doctor or you're a coal miner, and of course you want to get paid decent. So, and it wasn't a lot of schooling with the coal mining part. So and so I took that option and that route. Although, the funny part about it is, about 3 years into the coal mining journey, I started to find myself having a little extra money, and so I did go to school. And so I went to college at night and got a degree that way, and worked during the days and things like that. So I don't know really how to tell the journey. I know that I was very sad in what I was doing. I didn't like it. I could do it well. I mean, I could fix anything. And I guess I kind of enjoy that. I got an old car. I got a '67 Impala that I tinker with, and so I like the mechanics of things and how things work. So I've always enjoyed that. But the atmosphere of the coal mines and these, that work, and it wasn't that I didn't want to do it. I did it for over 10 years and paid the bills and everything else. But I had this something deep down inside of me. You ever had something deep down inside of you that tells you that, wait, I'm not supposed to be doing what I'm doing?
Oh, you bet. And I believe everybody has those seeds of desire and greater purpose, where no matter what you're doing, you still have a sense that there's something greater for me to be doing. And often that greatness flies in the face of conventional wisdom, your own and your family. So keep going.
Excuse me. And I don't want to throw Bible at anybody, but this reminds me of a story of Elisha as he was plowing in his field, and down comes Elijah and drops his coat on him, and Elijah is plowing in the field with everybody else, and he's doing what everybody else is doing. Everybody else is just happy with where they're at. They're plowing in the field and doing their work with the roots and the rocks and the dirt and all that dirty stuff. but I just imagine that he had a feeling of greatness deep down in his guts somewhere, that he says, I'm meant for something more than just plowing the earth. And as you know, Elisha went on to do double the miracles that Elijah did. And so he had that great calling on his life. And I guess I'm not comparing myself to a great man of God like that guy, but I had that same feeling, and that same feeling resides in anyone that wants to make a better change for themselves and a deeper experience. You don't want to just go to work, punch a time clock, 9 to 5, and come home, eat supper, watch TV, go to bed, and then wake up and do it all over again. That's boring. Nobody wants to do that. And so you're trapped. You're trapped, and I was starting to feel trapped in my life. But again, I love this area. I love where I'm at. I know everybody. Everybody knows me. It's just a small town. If you've watched the Andy Griffith Show, this is exactly like that. This is exactly like that. And so, but I was still feeling trapped. This is not what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And it feels like I have something else, something greater to give, and I didn't know what it was. But after about 10 years in the coal mines, as fate would have it, I was pulling power, what we call moving power, from one section of the coal mines to another section. It's 190 feet. And while that may not seem a great distance to you, in 46 inches of coal, that is a tough task to do. So while we were pulling power 190 feet, fate hit me in the face and ripped my kneecap and broke it in half, my left leg, and just shattered any kind of dream I had at being a great coal miner after that. And so I never went into a coal mines again after that day. I just couldn't. I couldn't crawl around. Couldn't get into the small spaces because most of a coal miner's work is on his knees. I put a picture on the event page that shows that I was standing up, and most places in Consol Energy were 6 to 8 foot or higher, which is super easy to work in, very easy. But when I got hurt, I wasn't working for Consol. I was working for Jewel Coal and Coke, and I think that's a Sunco corporation. Anyway, so those mines were a whole lot smaller, so 36 to 40 inches high, and so that was my job, crawl around on my knees. And so I just, after feeling trapped, now I've been thrust out. The universe has made the decision for me. Okay, look, you're trapped. You're not going to do anything about it. This is what you need to do. Boom, you get out of the coal mines. I think that was just the whole message for me. Even in a bad situation, good things can come out of it. And to be sure, I was in a bad situation for probably 2 years after that.
Well, it's important to. I mean, this is, other than an uncommon story. A lot of people get a sense that they're not where they should be, and if they don't act on it, I really believe that God, the universe, whatever relation you have with Creator and creation, will give us a nudge and help us along the way to help us make a decision. So often adversity invites us to reach deeply into ourselves and find a solution where we don't see or think there is one, and it sounds like that's where you ended up smack dab in the middle of.
Yeah, it's perfect. And Christopher Jennings Pender, I forget your last name, Chris. I'm so sorry. But anyway, my buddy Chris, he's a great photographer. He'll like this. I talked about the secret and the importance of positive attitudes and things like that. If you're just going about your daily life and daily tasks and nothing is really wrong, it's not what you want to do maybe, but it's not really anything you want to change because I don't want to really change what I'm doing. I don't want to rock the boat, blah blah blah. People like that will never make a decision to push forward. It's when your back is up against the wall It's when the notice on your house has been given to you to get out. It's when you ain't got any money in the bank. It's when you're at these tipping points. It's when you start doing drastic things that you would never do when you were comfortable. And so, and I believe that the dividing line between a regular marketer and a great marketer is that the great marketer understands when to do those irrational things, but to do them in such a way that they understand that it's going to help them later in the future.
And if I can jump in, perhaps they seem irrational, but they're big moves. Okay, they're the moves and the strategies that Wade is talking about are moves that are outside our comfort zones, and I think it's really important that more often than not, it's true that it's only until our back's against the wall that we reach down and look at those things that are big stretches for us as possibilities. But the reality is, our conversation today is really about inviting people to not wait until you're up against the wall or there's a gun to your head. That part of being a hero for yourself, first and foremost, is making it a habit and a career to stretch every day. So keep on going, if you would, Wade.
Yeah, and so that's exactly right. So I believe that in studying the human psychological aspects of the brain and the way people are, one of the things that I've came to realize is that people aren't going to make those tough decisions. People hate change. We are creatures of habit. Whatever, I guarantee you're a creature of habit. You either put your left leg through your pants first or your right leg through your pants first every time. It's a habit. Which sock do you put on first? Which foot do you put your sock on first? It's these habits, these little things that we get used to.
We're wired for familiarity.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And when something is familiar, we embrace it, we love it, and when something is different, we cast it aside because it rocks the boat of our habitual process that we don't want to change. And so I would have never quit the coal mines, never. And I'm in the middle of this sea of crap just like everybody else is. I would have never quit the coal mines because I wanted that $33 an hour. I wanted that great paycheck. I had a great job. Didn't really work all that hard. I was a mechanic, so I went wherever they wanted me to go, and I was doing stuff that I enjoyed. I was fixing things, and so. But I still had that feeling, but I would never acted on that feeling, and that's exactly the path I believe we're talking about heroes. That's the path that a hero takes, is to step outside those boundary lines of what the subconscious and what the subconscious is familiar with, and what the everyday habitual person does, and to just embrace that purple cow, like Seth Godin talks about, and don't cast it away. It's not odd. It's original. It's one of a kind. It's something that people notice. And so when you start doing stuff like that, and I believe it makes a huge difference in your marketing now. But going on to say, going on to from that. So when I got thrown out of that business, I took a hard look at my life. Whenever I went to high school, I really enjoyed the writing. I really enjoyed English and the essays and history and all this stuff. And so I had heard, I hadn't been on the internet, but one time in 2003, I got on the internet once, and Google, I think it was Google, came up, and a little blinking cursor. I could have typed anything I wanted to in that box. But it was just so overwhelming, I didn't know what to do. So I just clicked the red X and got out and went and worked on my car, I think. But it was 5 years later before I ever got on the internet again. And so I just didn't. Look at Mayberry, North Carolina. They didn't have no use for the internet. Same thing as this place. There's no use for the internet. Everybody that does business with each other, and it's our own little world here. So my the constructs of my mind had blinders on them. I was trapping my own self in my own region because I couldn't see outside of the boundaries of Richlands, Virginia. And so I couldn't see what I could do for somebody in California. I couldn't see any of that stuff. But when it threw me out, I started to make decisions. Okay, this is what I really love to do. I'm good at mechanicking, but this is what I really like to do. I really like to write. And so I started researching writing, and then I started to see that, hey, you could make a blog. And so I started doing the blogging thing. Then I started understanding, well, what in the world? What's a self-hosted blog? I don't understand what a self-hosted blog is. So I started researching that. I mean, literally, I came from knowing zero about this. I mean, I knew absolutely nothing. I was the biggest idiot, and probably still am at some of this stuff. But I learned. I went past those barriers. I broke past, I broke past the barrier of starting a blog. I broke past the barrier of starting a self-hosted blog. I made the mistakes. I did the stupid stuff. I erased posts. I published new posts. Tried to get better. I just did all this stuff that I wouldn't have normally done. It wasn't Wade.
And the truth is, Wade, that you were hungry, weren't you?
Yeah, I was hungry. I was hungry. When as much as I've told this story online, and most of the times I would, and this is true, I would tell people I needed money. I knew that you could make money blogging, and I needed money, and that's what I would tell people. But as I'm sitting here talking to you, yes, I believe the money side of it was one of the reasons I started, but I was hungry in a sense that I wanted to expand my horizons and to just try to reach people. I was hungry for something that I didn't know what it was yet. And so the only way that I could get satisfaction, the only way I could get satisfaction,
of it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so to get satisfaction, I feel like maybe I was doing it by writing and doing a poor job. Just a poor job at it too. I mean, really bad.
Well, let's take a pause for just a second, just to let you know you're watching the Mindfulness Advantage show, and we're talking with Wade Harman, Chief Communications Officer of Wheel Media. And let's just stop for a second and acknowledge some friends that are here with us today. Dustin W. Stout, whoop whoop, dropping a shout out to Wade Harman.
Oh man, that guy can do some social media images. I'm telling you, man.
I'm telling you. And Jessica Maynard's in the house. She's saying great to hear from Wade Harman and where he comes from.
Hey, Jessica.
Go ahead.
I was just saying hi to Jessica.
Yeah. And then my dear friend CLB, Christine L. Bowen, she's packing and listening to the show while she's getting ready to move. She says, preach it, Wade Harman. And the reality here is that no matter what we're doing, I think it was Dr. Wayne Dyer said, love everything you do on your way to doing what you love. It doesn't matter where you are on your hero's journey. What really matters is, do you pour yourself into what you're doing and do the best that you can? That's one of the ways you can show up as a hero. We got William Rock in the house. Who else? And then Elaine Nieberden's with us.
Oh, hey, Lane. And hey, William. Hashtag rock on.
Yeah, the rock man. And William says, Wade Harman, not knowing is learning. So that's definitely an aspect of figuring out.
I am a learning master, man.
Oh, yeah, and you're in good company, man. So, all right, so where we left off in the arc of your story and your hero's journey is that you started to learn how to blog and learned what a self-hosted blog was and is. You figured out when you got past the easy choice of being a coal miner, and I got to share with you, I have blue-collar roots. I came from Michigan. When I lived in Texas, I told people I was a recovering Yankee. And that was what you did in Michigan. Just like if you're in the mountains where you live, most people are either coal miners or doctors. Well, when you were in Pontiac or Waterford or Clarkston in Michigan, most of the people there were pining for a job at what we called the shop, Generous Motors. So when we get past the easy choice and we find ourselves in some sort of dilemma, it's the deep dive into why am I really here and what can I do to serve my family and be a hero for my family that we eventually start to uncover our greater purpose. So for you, that's part of your journey, and so let's map it forward from the beginnings and talk a little further about your evolution into really, for me, being the only expert I know who's really laser beam focused on building authentic relationships and marrying that with content marketing. So give us a little view into that arc of your story.
Well, first of all, I'm just me. I'm trying to build relationships because, and everybody knows this. It's just building relationships expands, excuse me, expands your reach, expands your business. When I write a post, I can go over into the chat and say, "Hey, Dustin, you mind to give this a +1 and a share?" And he's no problem. Let's do it. And so Dustin has more followers than me on Google Plus, and probably everywhere else. But there is my reach, and so I get some beneficial relationships. And it's not just that. That's not the reason you should be building relationships, and it's not the reason that I build relationships. It's just I like people, and I treat it like I don't know. I guess people expect me to say something real deep about this, but I really don't have a strategy. They call it relationship marketing, but to me it's just building friends and trying to help people and trying to see what they need me to do for them. Because I had a really good friend growing up. His name was Ben, and he was probably one of the best friends I ever had. We still are good friends. He's moved away, a big Walmart executive now, but happy for that guy. But as we were growing up, I could. All right. So let me tell you this story, so you understand. All right. When I first met Ben, he was riding his bike down the dirt road. I was probably about 14, and he said, "I'll never forget when I first saw you. You were in your yard hammering two pieces of wood together. I was making something. Of course, I was making something, and from that moment on, it was just like a marriage of two great friends. And so it was always, what can I do for you? And it's give and take. If I wanted to watch something and he didn't want to watch it, he's like, okay, we'll watch what you want to watch. If he had a game he wanted to play and I didn't really want to play, I could still play it. I believe that's that's the true benefit of building a relationship in marketing. It's a lot of give and take. And you said the perfect word, the marriage. And when you marry somebody, you are a servant. You go into servitude to this person. My wife, I would do anything for her. I would, and I try to every day. I ask her every day, what can I do for you today? What can I do to make your life easy? You gave me two great little boys, so I want to try to do. And I believe that's the whole concept. And so when you marry that with content marketing, and you start to want, everybody wants to succeed. I ain't a person that's going to watch this video that will never say, I don't want to make 10 grand a month with my blog. Okay, so everybody wants money. I'm not saying that it's wrong to want that. I want that as well. But you got to kind of stop thinking about that, because the money comes when you start, entering into those give and take relationships with people, and and it's more give. It's like the social sharing rule, 80-20. It's 80% give and 20% take. And so, and you'll know when it's time to take and to ask, because the people will have built trust with you, and you'll feel that rapport being built up. And so I believe that
and you have earned that favor you're asking.
Yeah.
Because, and I think this is really important. What you're defining here is a recipe for success in any relationship, especially intimate relationships. And if you want to be successful in business, your relationships have to be on an intimate level as well. And it starts with our mindset. Our intention is to serve. As Wade said, when you serve, that 10K is going to come. But if you're thinking 10K, we're all way too sophisticated. We've been sold to death, and everybody knows when they're being leveraged or sold, and everybody knows and appreciates when you show up as a hero for them, because you want to know how you can serve them.
Yeah, I believe that's right. And it's while you want to be on that path. When I first started blogging, I thought that in order for me to make money, then I was going to have to show people and lie to people that I was making money, and if you would just buy this product, then you could make the money that I'm making. So the first 3 months of my very first self-hosted blog was nothing but a pack of lies. It was a foundation of falsehoods, and it was not right. And it wasn't until I started to rethink this, and I'm like, what are these other guys doing? So I just stopped, and I started reading people. I'd been writing, but I had never really stopped to read. And that's another great way to follow the path of that influencer or that hero is to read their stuff and to see what they're saying to their followers that trust them. That way you can kind of get an idea for what you need to be saying as well. So as I started reading these people, I'm like, whoa, I'm way off base, man. I'm the 3 followers I got now is probably hate my guts, So I just kind of, gutted the whole blog and started again from scratch. And I started to tell people what I knew and what I could help them with. And then the first blog post was about I think I got 10 people to read it. And that was already more than what I had been getting.
That was a major uptick in engagement.
Yeah, 10 views that day. Awesome. So I was rolling then. So here we go. And so the second blog post, I had about 25 people view it. And so the third blog post and the fourth, and I wrote this down. I remember this. My 11th blog post, I got 335 visitors that day, and to the site, and I had let's see, I think it was 500 page views that day. So not only did they go to that site, they were interested enough to navigate through my blog and to see what else I could show them. And so that's what you want to do, and you do that by helping people. And I know it's frustrating that you write something and you can't, maybe not be making a ton of money right now because I've felt that before. But if you can just be consistent with content marketing, you can build relationships with people you have never even spoken to. This is called attachment marketing. People
Right.
can be attached to you without having never spoken to you before in their life. Now look at a person, my friend Jay Bear. He has tons and tons of followers, and he doesn't speak to, I haven't asked him this, but I'm sure he hasn't spoken to all of them personally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that attachment theory. It's that trust because of who he is, because of what he's done, and that happens over time. And it's because of consistency in content writing that has helped people. And so I believe that's the way you can marry that relationship marketing with your content. It's just be consistently helpful.
And I think it's important to reemphasize that in any a worthy relationship, there's the handshake, there's the greet and meet. Let's just say in personal relationships, you start dating somebody, you're not going to go from the first date to having grandchildren overnight or in a month. The same is true in business. You have to be patient. You have to orient yourself to the kind of engagement and literally coming from your heart and from a place of service of how can I share what I know to help other people. And the reality is you have to be so deeply invested in that because you won't see a return until you start really building these relationships. And relationships require time and our mindfulness and our hearts to
Well,
go
it's
ahead.
also reminds me of this old Chinese proverb. Now I'm gonna butcher this, but bear with me. A friend is like, building a relationship or building a friendship with someone is like the potato that you plant in the ground and you cover it up with dirt. You can't see anything, but if you water it and you feed it and you nurture it, it's going to show. After a while, it's going to come up out of the ground. And not only will it come up out of the ground when it's mature and ready, it's going to bring in more potatoes. So one potato can bring in, I've had in my garden, I've had one potato bring in 6 or 7 more potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you build a relationship with say George, look, George is going to tell his friends, hey, this is the guy, this is the girl you should know. And then they're going to tell their friends. And so that's one of the things. It takes time. You can't see the benefits of it right away because under the surface the activity is happening and all the good stuff is happening, but you can't see it until 3 or 4 months down the road.
Indeed, that's a really important piece. Our results are reflected back to us in how effectively we can serve another person or a potential client, and how we can serve them in their lives being better. And that's a huge piece. Again, you're watching the Mindfulness Advantage show. We started late and we're going long, friends, because this is a conversation that's one worthy of having, and today is just the beginning. So as you're in here with your comments, remember to share the replay and get in because Wade and I will be following through on comments from now until the cows come home. And speaking of comments, we've got a great bunch coming up here. Elaine Nieberding, she says, if you can't drop down to your knees in some usual way, you're called to drop down and listen and learn and do in a new way. Any way you look at it, it's being prayerful and mindful of letting love fuel you forward. Love Wade Harman's story, and I certainly agree with you, Elaine. I'm loving our conversation and what Wade is sharing. Christine L. Bowen says, yeah, same page, Wade Harman. The foundation of my online efforts is summed up like this. If you realize the impact that building relationships have on your business, you will make relationship building your business. Man, that is right on the mark, CLB. I love your participation here. Jessica Maynard, reach can be a beautiful effect of the relationships, but you are right, it's not the reason for the relationships, Wade Harman. So again, we're going long today. Wade, keep on going, man, because this is the key. Again, we've been fire hosed so much that people have immunity to it and they can sniff it out unconsciously, and you will lose somebody in the blink of an eye unless you're really motivated to be a hero for them, to show up as a hero for them. That's the whole theme of today's story. How can I be a hero of my own story and show up that way for my family, my friends, and my relationships, and ultimately in my professional relationships? And Wade, I appreciate you being humble, but the key to your success, mine and anyone else's, is just remembering who we are. And being somebody who's just a regular person, who's not necessarily any different or any better than anyone else, is the definition of the kind of people I have conversations with, ordinary people achieving the extraordinary. So keep on rolling there, Wade.
Well, one of the things that I was thinking about, um, as far as building relationships with people, the first thing you have to do, if you don't know this person and you've never been in contact and they've never been in contact with your content, you have to look at it in a way of, how am I going to reach this person or this group of, this target group of people in my niche. So when you think about it in that aspects, then you've really got your work cut out for you, because say take Facebook, for example. Not only are you in competition with other businesses and other corporations on Facebook with the ads and this and that and the reach and all this stuff that's, all of this stuff that complies with this type of marketing strategy. But not only is that a concern, but now you're in competition with somebody's wife. You're in competition with somebody's friend, because they're on Facebook and they see their friend has just uploaded a funny video on YouTube, and right above them is your post on building relationships. Well, if your post isn't relevant, if your post doesn't stand out and make some kind of a point, guess what? The friend is going to win that battle, is going to win that competition. And so a lot of this is important, because you have to understand where visual marketing comes into play. I mean, it's not just relationship marketing. It's not like you can't go out and say, all right, I'm going to go get 50 people, excuse me, I'm going to go get 50 people to start noticing me this week. And so it's going to be people I don't know, but people that are in my target market. So now you've just thrown that into the mix. Now you've got to be concerned with visual marketing, even psychological marketing and wordplay in your shares. You have to understand that when the person sees this, having never seen you before, you've got to have some kind of way to make that post or that share stand out to them, that they want to click. So it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff bundled up inside of the relationship marketing aspect of it, especially when you don't know who you're trying to get.
Yeah, it really comes down to resonance and relevance. And this is another exercise of stepping out of our own selves and our own agenda to really walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. We have to understand and know how we can serve someone, and whatever a product or service is, what solution does it offer? And whatever visual media, whatever memes we're going to put up there that are associated with us and our service and our brand, we have to come through in a way that serves other people. And so it's, even on the surface, to understand that, we have to take it a lot deeper and explore that and see what works, and just learn how to show up in this way. And so that's a journey I'm doing myself. I love, and I'm very oriented towards visual marketing, and you're one of my inspirations, Wade. Joel Comm, his book, I just downloaded. I think it's Social Media Poetry. He really maps it out for people on how to really engage people in an authentic way that to where they're really curious about you and they want to know more about you first and foremost, and then what you do and what you can offer.
Yeah, and I think it's important to also be aware of your social profiles. Those are there for a reason. Just like you said, George, people may want to know who we are. So that's why it's important, especially on Google Plus. It's important to fill out that about page with as much information as you can, and even put in links to some helpful articles that you've written. If you maybe not for sure, go to Plus Wade Harman and click the About tab and check out what I've got to show. And you can kind of mimic that. I've got my Hangout shows in there. I believe my iTunes channel is on there, and a couple of blog posts that I've written, and then I tell them, I say, here's what you can expect me to share on Google Plus: content marketing, relationship marketing, social media, and I tell them a little bit about me. That way they can make the decision. Okay, do I want to follow this guy or not? Is this something I'm interested in? So that even kind of narrows the market down, the follower base. So it's good to have a good social profile.
Mm-hmm. And is it also important that we keep our profiles fresh? Like really refreshing it, changing up the languaging. As we evolve and our content evolves, it's important then to share that. It's correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, I've definitely. My Google Plus profile needs to be refreshed right now. So some of the helpful articles that I have on my profile page now are a little old, so I need to go back in there and refresh those. And it's good to have a fresh profile picture too, and that's another thing that I'm slacking on. So it's good to kind of change stuff around. Even your banner image, make it as good as you can.
Awesome. Well, all right, we've been talking with Wade Harman, Chief Communications Officer with Wheel Media. I want to jump in here and acknowledge a couple more comments. Dustin W. Stout, another woot woot for visual marketing. Zara Altair loves the potato analogy. Geoffrey Dodd is echoing what we're talking about. Be consistently helpful, says Wade Harman as well. So, Wade, as we're coming towards the end of our show and our final segment, your moments in mindfulness, I'm going to invite you to throw out a call to inspiration and action to sort of wrap things up from your heart and the spirit of who you are and how you play.
It's a big internet, and you're not going to capture everyone, even though you might want to, which is one of the things I wanted to do when I first started. I was going to conquer the internet world and make millions. That may not be feasible. You might not get 100 million followers, and then again, you might. If you do, more power to you. But it's the small steps that lead to the larger goals. Don't set huge goals that you can't attain right away. Set small goals. If you only have 500 followers on Google Plus, say this month I'm going to get 1,000 followers on Google Plus. I'm going to bring my 500 to 1,000. So you're going to gain an extra 5. So that way you can keep your confidence. That builds confidence in where you're at. So set the small goals. That leads to a better, larger, and more potential with your marketing later on down the road. And also, don't do the shotgun style marketing, whereas when you pull the trigger, it just blasts out in a huge radius. Just like Joe Paluzzi says, find your target market and go niche. And when you get in that niche, go even more niche. So shoot with the rifle instead of a shotgun, and stop marketing to huge masses of people. And like I always like to say, become a hero to one individual at a time, because that's going to build trust faster. It's going to build that rapport that you need to make a successful living on the internet.
Amen, brother. And the whole thing about aiming, too many people are positioned with the ready, fire, aim strategy, and the other piece that I want to echo that you emphasized here is what we call chunk size. Have your big strategy, your big vision, but we need to bring it into doable steps. Each step is not only doable, but it represents a stretch, and that's the idea that Wade put out of, if you've got 500 followers, well, aim for getting 1,000, and then what's your plan? And then stay with the plan, check your trajectory, and do your metrics, and then readjust your strategy and recommit. So, Wade, how can people get in touch with you? How can they connect and collaborate with you and play with you?
Well, I would love it if you would head over to wadeharman.com and press play on the video. And if you're not subscribed to my insiders list, you might want to be, because next month I've got a great contest that I'm running just for my insiders. I'm going to go out and buy something very awesome, and I'm going to give it to one lucky person in my email list. And also, I would love it if you, on wadeharman.com, the landing page, scroll down just a little bit and you'll see my iTunes channel and my latest show that I did. If you've not subscribed to that, and I would really love to have you there. And I will be heading out west on Sunday, so I'm kind of holding off on the live hangout shows. Mm-hmm. But my iTunes subscribers will be getting a show every week. So you can look for that and look forward to that as well. Sorry about that for the hangout, folks, but I just won't have the powerful internet that I do at home to make these HD videos. So
well, and that's a great reason for people to subscribe. And so if you would do us a favor, while I'm diving into our final segment, and put your address up in your web address up in the comment stream, and also let people know how they can subscribe.
Okay.
I really appreciate you being here today, Wade. And now, friends, for our final segment today, it's first word. Or excuse me, that was the beginning. It's your moments in mindfulness. Maya Angelou, one of our greatest modern-day poets, once said, "I think a hero is any person really intent on making this a better place for all people. Regardless of the nature of our relationships, whether they be personal or professional, what truly enriches our lives and the lives of those we engage with are our authentic, mindful intentions, words, and actions. If you desire authentic and sustainable success, fulfillment, and the fruition of your own hopes, dreams, and visions, then the most direct path is your own deeply personal path, your own hero's journey. Your journey is not one of myth or monumental acts. It's made up of single mindful steps forward, one after the other, drawing from within your own courage, faith, and fire. Again, if you desire your own authentic and sustainable success, fulfillment, and the fruition of your own hopes, dreams, and visions, then choose to show up and be the hero or shero you were born to be for someone else today, friends. I am your friend and host, George E. Green, and this is your Mindfulness Advantage show. Let's play. My thanks again to Wade Harman and for your presence and participation, friends. Join us next week for another epic episode featuring our friend, Dr. Manny St. Victor. We'll see you here next time.